We are looking at the dahlias. They are finally all into the ground. I'm not sure if you guys have actually seen that yet or not, because the videos are running a little bit behind, honestly. I'm about maybe 3 weeks behind in terms of videos that I'm trying to get out. But I wanted to quickly talk about learning to stake these or trellis these, however you want to, whatever you want to call it. This is a pretty large planting. As you can see, I've been doing my best to keep the weeds out, but somehow the grass is just taking over, and the heat index today, as I'm recording this video, is 118 degrees. That means with the humidity, it feels like it's 118 degrees in my backyard. So, you can probably understand why I kind of let the grass grow sometimes, and I have a few weeds. It's not safe for people to be working when it's not healthy. Be careful when you're working in the garden. Anyway, getting into this, I have managed to get all of the dahlias into the ground. As you can see, they're pretty big. Ideally, I would have liked to already had these staked and ready to go and ready to grow and everything. In the past, I have used horizontal trellis netting to stake my dahlias, and that has worked really well. However, since I am growing in such a teeny tiny space, I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to allow for myself to shimmy up and down the rows with the camera, hopefully, so I can show you guys the dahlias as well. So I knew that the horizontal trellis netting this year was not a viable option for me. So I began to explore some of the other choices that I had. Maybe a vertical trellis net would have been a good idea. That's something I definitely want to try in the future. I think it would work out really well. I ended up taking this vertical trellis net down and using it on my zinnias. You'll see that in a future video when I start staking the zinnias. But this year, the main technique I think I'm going to use is kind of like a modified Florida weave technique. You can see some of these plants are getting pretty bushy, so it was really imperative that I started staking these as soon as possible because, you know, we were having strong thunderstorms with the heat and things were already starting to topple over and fall over, which of course is not good. Basically, if you have grown a vegetable garden, or more specifically, if you have grown tomatoes, you're probably familiar with this staking method. All you do really is grab some strong post. I usually use the strong metal T-post. I ordered a bunch of these. Half of them got stolen off the front porch. Whatever. That's why my spacing is really long. Ideally, I would have liked to have some more posts closer together. But basically all you do is you take a strong twine and you begin to weave that twine through the plants. There are a couple variations on how you can do this. Some people just, you know, make 2 rows of line and bring the plants up towards the middle. Some people weave it around each plant. That's personally what I do. It seems like I get a better result. But really, I'm sorry there's not a, you know, showing me do this part of the video. It's just, it was too hot. It was too hot out there to show the process and to be out here filming and doing all this stuff. So what I did is I put in my T-post across there. I've got on the ends and in the middle of the bed, obviously, and on that far row of dahlias, I'm using that structure of the hoop house to actually wind my twine around. This is just some mason twine. The reason I like mason twine is it is very, very strong. It rarely breaks unless it unravels, so you do gotta be careful with it unraveling. I bought the hot pink one because it was the cheapest. I was going to buy the one that was a dark kind of hunter green color, but that one was like triple the price. I guess they knew what I was doing with. Anyway, you can see how high you want to go at first. Really depends on what you want to do. The first row, I did it kind of high to show you that those plants can grow through that as they get bigger and bigger. Here's a shot I think that's really effective in showing you what exactly I'm doing. You'll see that that plant is just kind of safely nestled between those lines, and as it continues to grow, you know, it'll grow up through those lines, and I'll keep adding more layers if necessary, and we'll just have some nice, strong, sturdy support with those lines. I've had moderate success with this method in the past. These lines are very strong. I mean, as you can imagine, using it in like growing tomatoes, plants can get very, very heavy. And the same is also true with dahlias. They have so much foliage when they're healthy, and you know, they're loaded down with flowers, so they can get extremely heavy. So it's important that the stakes are strong and really just driven into the ground really well, and that you have a plan for moving forward. I think that's one of the things that always kind of got me when I was growing dahlias at first is that, you know, I never really had a plan. So I think things are looking good so far. Of course, I always got to mention, I am pretty much a novice when it comes to growing dahlias. There are so many wonderful channels here on YouTube, people who grow them what I would consider professionally, you know, for exhibitions and things, who know what's up, know what they're doing. They don't even let weeds grow into their yard. I'm not that person, but I do enjoy growing really pretty flowers, and I think it's something that can be shared, and maybe you'll like to grow them too. It just, you know, sharing what I'm doing here. Hopefully it's helpful. So I know sometimes it's not, like, this is not exactly a how-to video because I can't show you how to do it because it is way too freaking hot out here. But hopefully it is helpful in that it is sharing ideas and showing what works for me. Also, since spending a lot of time making sure that all the rest of the plants are pinched, I've still missed a couple somehow. I don't know how I've missed so many pinching the plants back. I'm also deadheading the first kind of couple blooms off these plants. Getting a lot of blooms, which is surprising considering it has been so hot. And I have definitely noticed that some varieties are definitely more productive in the heat than others. But, you know, hopefully we'll continue to kind of get a firm grasp of what we're doing. Make sure they're trellised. Make sure we're deadheading. I will be needing to fertilize these plants sometime very soon. Hopefully I can do that maybe sometime this week. Getting a lot of blooms though, really exciting. And the more blooms I get, the more it seems like I've got a bunch of tubers that I didn't order. It seems to me like this year a lot of companies were just like, yeah, well, we got their money, so just give them whatever. And I am not a fan of that. I will be the first one to tell you that does not make me happy. That's really about it for this video. I'm done complaining. Hopefully it was helpful. Again, who knows? If it was and you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We would absolutely love to have you. We'd love to have you kind of join along with us in our dahlia growing season. If you're growing dahlias, tell me what varieties you're growing. We'll see if we have any of the same varieties. I always think that's fun when you're growing the same stuff. Tips for how to trellis. Love to hear about it. Constructively, of course. Always looking to learn something new. Always appreciate you guys so incredibly much. Be sure to share this video and tell your friends and all that kind of good stuff because we're just trying to grow our little gardening community here on the channel. As always, the links to all my stuff is down in the description below. Down there we have a link to our wax melt shop, which helps support the channel, a link to our Patreon, which also helps support the channel and kind of run the blog. And we have a link to our actual blog where you can find more articles and stuff and pictures of the stuff that I'm showing you here. I hope that you guys are having such an incredible day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.